The room went silent the moment the Admiral walked in. Boots clicked, uniforms stiffened, and every head turned toward him as though gravity itself had shifted. The men and women in that hall had seen combat, had faced storms, had lived through the echoes of war, but nothing prepared them for what happened next. Because when the Admiral's eyes fell on me, the one they all thought was just a quiet aide trailing behind the SEALs, his hand rose sharply in salute. He didn't hesitate, didn't glance around for approval, didn't weigh what the others might think. He saluted me first, and in that instant, every whispered doubt, every sideways glance, every cruel dismissal I had endured suddenly shattered like glass. The silence in that room wasn't just respect. It was shock. It was recognition. It was the moment history stopped pretending I didn't exist. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in honoring those who carry invisible battles, then please take a second right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Legends Off History. Your support helps bring untold stories like this one into the light. I hadn't set out to be anyone special. To most of the world, I was just another face in the crowd. Another set of hands carrying the weight for others while hiding my own scars. Years before that moment, when the Admiral's salute changed everything, I had been broken, worn, and cast aside. The Navy was my home, but it was also the battlefield where I had lost more than I thought I could ever regain. Injury had nearly taken my career. Trauma had nearly taken my will. By the time I was reassigned to the SEAL unit as an aide, whispers already floated through the halls. Paper pusher, they called me. The errand runner. Some even said I was kept around out of pity. I heard it all. I carried it silently, the way soldiers carry unspoken wounds. But what they never saw, what they couldn't see, was the fight that had taken place before I ever walked into that unit. Years earlier, on a foreign shore no one cared to remember, my team and I had been trapped under fire. The air smelled of burning earth, the night split by red tracers and the metallic bite of blood. One by one, men fell, their bodies broken in the dust. I had been the last one standing, refusing to leave behind the wounded, refusing to abandon the flag we carried. My body bore the scars of that night. My heart bore the weight of it even more. The metal they pinned on me afterward felt heavy, not from pride, but from memory. I didn't speak of it. I couldn't. So when I arrived at the SEAL compound years later, moving more slowly than the others, carrying files instead of rifles, no one imagined who I really was. And I didn't correct them. I let the myth live, that I was only an aide, only someone who had once been close enough to greatness to borrow its shadow. There is a unique kind of loneliness in being underestimated. It digs into your bones, a constant reminder that the world sees only the surface while your truth remains buried beneath. I carried that loneliness into every briefing room, every mission plan I typed out, every equipment check I quietly handled. Some laughed behind my back, some ignored me altogether, but I had learned something in the fire of my past battles. Dignity is not lost because others refuse to see it. Then came the day of the ceremony. Rows of SEALs stood in their sharp uniforms, shoulders squared, eyes forward. Families filled the back rows, cameras ready to capture smiles and salutes. The Admiral himself was attending, a man who had led legends into storms and carried losses only he could measure. As I walked in, trailing behind the men I served with, I could feel the eyes again. That's the aide, someone whispered. Just the assistant. I kept my gaze low, my breath steady. My role was never to stand in the spotlight. But then he saw me. The Admiral's eyes locked onto mine. And in that split second, I knew he remembered. He remembered the night when chaos had swallowed the battlefield and one soldier refused to retreat. He remembered the wounded pulled from the dirt, the flag carried through fire, the silence after the last shot. He remembered me. And so, in front of them all, his hand snapped to his brow, sharp and reverent, saluting not the rank they thought I held, not the aide they thought I was, but the soldier they had all forgotten. The hall went still. The SEALs shifted, their faces breaking into disbelief, then shame, then respect. For the first time in years, I wasn't invisible. I was seen. The days that followed weren't filled with parades or headlines. No camera ever told the story, but something shifted in that unit. The laughter stopped when I walked by. The whispers died out, and one by one, men who had once looked through me began to nod, to greet me, to ask for my thoughts as though my silence held weight they had never considered. It wasn't the salute that gave me back my honor. It was the recognition that beneath every uniform, every scar, every quiet soul in the corner, there is a story the world too easily forgets. That day reminded me, and all of them, that dignity cannot be erased by assumption. That sometimes the strongest warriors are not the ones shouting from the front, but the ones who carry their battles silently until the world is finally ready to remember. And maybe that's why I never told them everything. They didn't need to know the full measure of what had been lost that night years ago. They didn't need to see the graves of the men I had carried. All they needed to know was this: sometimes the aide you overlook is the one who bore the fire so you could stand tall today. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the quiet strength so many carry unseen, then please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Legends Off History. Your support ensures that these powerful hidden truths are never lost to silence again. Special request to comment. Tell us below, have you ever been underestimated, only to prove that your strength ran deeper than anyone believed? Your story matters, and we'd love to hear it.